You actually don't need more than 5 or 7 variants, and you never had. And that actually hasn't changed much when it comes to campaigns. However, with like, I've seen some examples with like abandoned basket emails and with like trigger-based emails where they are completely individualized in the text and sometimes also the images. So yeah, so content thing, that was the first thing that changed.
This episode is brought to you by PlayMops, your marketing ops partner. Choose PlayMops when you need independent and strategic martech advisory from start to finish, or marketing ops for hire. Get execution where and when you need it. Playmops.io. Welcome to The Ordinary. I'm your host, Morten and Sørensen, and today we are going to talk about personalization.
Yes.
What's actually changed with AI, what hasn't, and why getting it right still feels impossibly hard for most organizations. My guest today has written the book on personalization, literally 3 times over. Rasmus Houlind is a keynote speaker, author, and chief experience officer at Agillic, a Nordic marketing automation company. He's been obsessed with one question for over a decade. Why do organizations keep failing at personalization even when they have all the tools? His first book tackled omnichannel marketing back in 2015. Then came Make It All About Me in 2019, which became a bestseller in the Nordics. I have one.
Ah.
I have 2 actually.
Oh, that's nice.
The one is signed.
You have the first one in Danish?
No, actually.
Okay. We'll fix that.
Moving on. And in 2023, he published Hello FirstName, Profiting from Personalization, which quickly became one of the most referenced books on the topic in the European marketing community. The second edition is out now, updated for the Generative AI era.
Indeed it is.
Rasmus and I first met at the conference back in 2022 through our mutual friend Frans Riemersma, and I've been wanting to get him on the show ever since I decided to start The Ordinary. He's presented at Martech World Forum in London, Digital Velocity by Telium, and most recently at Forte Martech Day in Oslo. Rasmus Houlind, welcome to The Ordinary.
Thank you so much, Morten. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. This is fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
just here in the woods,
So
outside of Trondheim.
this is the first lake, and today we are hiking to a place called Storheia in Norwegian. That was a request by you.
Yeah.
Because I,
You could have walked by the fjord.
I said, oh, let's go walk by the river downtown because it's such a nice view. Yeah. And you're like, no, I want to go in the mountain. I'm like, yeah,
consider
sure.
Denmark being like totally flat.
Yeah.
So we're already above Denmark.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, of course you do. You want to go to the mountain. But this is actually my favorite hike here in Trondheim. So it's an easy ask to.
I'm so happy to be here. Very grateful.
So, before we start walking, I'm gonna give you one of my ordinary cards. I'm just gonna pick one here from my back pocket.
There's a big pile. I saw it earlier.
Yeah,
so
30 questions. This is one of them.
Oh, can I see?
Yeah, read it out loud and answer it.
If AI took half your job tomorrow, what would you do with the free time? Is that where we start?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question. Took my job. What would I do with the free time? I think I would do kite surfing more. And I think I would play more music. Yeah. More guitar, piano. Maybe take up the saxophone again also.
Huh?
Maybe also take up the saxophone again. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I used to play saxophone. I'm a saxophonist in my youth.
Okay, cool.
Snowboarding for the winter. Yeah. Maybe a bit more mountain biking.
I don't think you do much snowboarding in Denmark, though.
Nope. I was in Norway. Norway, Austria,
Okay.
It's a bit up and down, north and south.
Let's say approved. Yeah.
Let's go.
So we're gonna start out by talking about the the foundation, what personalization actually is.
Yeah.
Most companies think they're doing personalization. Most of them aren't. What are they actually doing, and where does the gap between the two sit?
So, I mean, I think all companies are doing personalized advertising, and some would disregard that as being personalization, but I genuinely think it is. And most likely they're also doing like hello FirstName personalization, as in the newsletters. At least putting in like parameterized through parameterization, putting in the first names of their recipients or their customers, and most also doing a bit of marketing automation, like an abandoned basket email or a welcome flow or a few triggered one-off emails here and there. And those all count in as personalization under my definition, which is very, very broad. And I think that's probably where they are. If you take it very, very broadly, obviously there are some who are much, much more advanced. I think it's also pretty common and table stakes to have, for instance, product recommendations, personalized product recommendations on your website and in your emails. I think that's probably the general level. I think I forgot the question again, Morten.
Most companies think they're doing it, but
yeah,
many or most of them aren't actually. But
yeah,
what's the difference?
Yeah. So I think they are doing personalization.
Okay.
But I think they could do it to a much higher degree. And then I think the other part of the question is, what should they be doing? What could they be doing? What is sort of the end goal for personalization? And that's a difficult thing to answer in these days, because it's indeed a moving target, where we have Agentic AI that is clearly raising the bar for what is now possible in terms of both data sources and insights, and also content creation. So there's almost no limit to what you could potentially do. But I think no matter how far you push it as a brand, most likely you'll never give the customer a 100% personalized experience in every touch point, because quite frankly, your data collection is not, you don't have that much data on the customer. And sometimes you don't have any data at all since the last campaign, but you still want to market to them. And so personalization, there's a level, like a glass ceiling above which it's really, really hard to go. And so in the end, the consumer will be faced with some communications that are highly personalized, and a lot of communication that isn't personalized, or maybe it's segmented slightly. But I mean, the campaigns are often about the campaigns and not about the customer. So maybe they're like tweaked slightly with a bit of personalization. So I think that's probably that's a realistic end state of how personalized you can be. That maybe, I don't know, 2 out of 10 touch points are highly personalized, and the rest are slightly personalized.
Okay. But you built the Bowtie of personalization as a model for thinking about this. What does it help people see that they were missing before?
The Bowtie of personalization came into the world because of frustration. I don't think anyone writes a book if they can not do it. So it's only because I felt I had to, and because I was frustrated with the fact that so many people were talking ambiguously around personalization. They were using the same term to describe different things, or they were using different terms to describe the same thing. And really and then at first I thought, what we need is a common definition of it. And then I realized that if all these things also that we just went over, if all these are personalization, like even personalized advertising and hello FirstName and marketing automation and whatnot, if all these are personalization, the definition, and there is a definition in the book, is actually super useless, because it's too broad, simply. So what the Bowtie of personalization does is that it's a practitioner's model. So that you as a practitioner, along with your team, it's actually more like a team model. If you can conceive what personalization is, through this lens. So this is like a practitioner's model where you can use it for different purposes. So whether you're coming at personalization from a like website personalization angle, or you're coming at it from a marketing automation angle, or a campaign angle, or you are basically just figuring out what should we do with a specific segment, then you can still use the Bowtie, but you'll use it sort of as a lens that you'll be looking through, and it'll be easy for you to find out what to prioritize and what not to. And that's kind of the idea. So it's helping people, I think, ideate and discover nuances in personalization that they otherwise were maybe blind to. Because some people think that, okay, I'm working with like a website personalization and I'm doing a bit of CRO, and we use product recommendations. Then that can quite often become their full picture of everything personalization, oblivious to all the other parts of personalization that exist. And that could be dangerous in an organization.
You talk about personalization as requiring two things at once: the right insight and the right content.
Yeah.
Which one breaks down more often in practice?
Yeah, I think data does, to be honest. And that's probably because that's where you start. The problem is that once you've got the data fixed, and that's super important, then you realize that, oh my God, we need the content to make this happen. And there's also, and obviously that has become easier with generative AI. So it's even more easy than ever to produce all the variants, message variants, for instance, that you'd need for personalized communications, or even individualized messages for that, or in a chat where you could regard everything as being personalized. So I think the content part has become easier. But quite often so there's actually a full chapter in the book which talks about the content layer and the data layer. And the data layer, most organizations have like a clear definition of or understanding of where they want to collect their data and have it in their master data and the data lake or whatever, and do insights upon it before they activate the insights. But the same is actually true for the content. But very, very few organizations are really good at having their content layer or their content supply chain, having that in order. And really, it's of equal importance, because imagine you're at a dinner party, and then you are so if you're very, very heavy on insights, so imagine meeting someone who is like super strong on remembering everything you ever said, but doesn't really know how to say things properly. So that's like a super creepy person. Or vice versa. You have the crocodile. I mean, the man with the person with like a real big mouth and very small ears, that's constantly talking, but never listens and never remembers anything. So and you don't want to be either of these people as a brand. And basically that's where you need to get both your insights and your content ready. And then the matching part comes, and that's not even easy too. So, yeah.
Sorry, you had me at like the crocodile and talking all the time. And I was actually picturing.
That's what we experience the most.
Yeah, but everybody knows at least 2 or 3 people.
Yes,
and maybe somebody I know would point at me though.
And claim that you'd be the crocodile. I don't regard you as a crocodile, not at all.
Thank you. At least not now, because I let you do the talking.
Yeah, and I talk a lot.
The crocodile.
Yeah. I listen to the questions.
Yeah, you do. So, not the first one though. So.
Yeah, I did, but I forgot it.
Yeah. I was just wanted to ask you the difference between, you mentioned individualization.
Yes.
What's the actual difference between that and personalization? I think many people mix the two.
Yeah, and I understand why. Individualized means that it's different. Take the communication that one person gets and what another person gets, and it's clear that they're getting something that is completely different, or it's slightly different as well. So if there's a distinction there, then it's individualized. But you can be in a situation where you're doing something that's individualized, but it's not necessarily personalized. And I'll give you an example. Say if you take a generative AI and you send out a campaign.
Yeah.
And you in that campaign, you have, for instance, a field in the email where you let generative AI do the text.
Yep.
but the text is very short, and and you don't have any new data points, and you have, for some of your recipients in your database, you have very little content. And then you'd make generative AI write the text for each individual, and there'll be, so there's not enough data to make it actually personalized, because it's going to be bland content because you don't know anything about these people, but it's going to be individual. It's going to be individual, so it's going to be different texts, but it's not. I mean, it's not in line with anybody's interest because you forgot to fuel the data that can actually drive the personalization. So that would be my definition of the distinction.
Thanks. I actually had a slightly different take, but you're right.
I've given this a lot of thought.
Yeah.
I think that's when you write things down in a book and you realize that these things need to be able to defend themselves even when I'm not around. Then you think like really, really hard that this has to be able to stand on its own. And that's why I love writing books, because you make up all these micro decisions about very small things and topic. What is my opinion on this topic and that topic?
Yeah.
And and it just it sticks afterwards, which is a fantastic feeling.
Yeah, and the whole exercise in itself actually is like writing into your membrane also.
100%, 100%. Yeah.
Because when you write it down, you do it in a style that the brain remembers better. So,
I think so. Yeah, I genuinely think so. Yeah, we're going very much uphill here.
This is not Denmark. Not for me either. So this is not...
it's a fantastic place.
Yeah, we have some height meters to push through.
Yeah, that's good.
So luckily for me, you're doing most of the talking, so we'll adjust the speed as need be.
Yeah, I'm fine.
What's the most common thing a company calls personalization that you would call something else entirely?
Okay. So that would probably be what I refer to as customization. So a distinction that I came across, I think, because I was talking to some postdoc people, some scientists from the university in Lugano in Switzerland, and they were doing a postdoc on personalization. And I had some really interesting conversations with the team there. And there's so say that you go on to Nike.com and you design your own sneakers. Some would say, now I have a personalized set of sneakers. But really, no, you'd have a customized set of sneakers. But still, people are I think, quite often confusing the two. And in practice, it doesn't matter much in most cases. But I mean, if we want to be really clear about it, I think it's fair to say that personalization is an act of the brand where you try to be as relevant as possible to your customers when you communicate to them or you engage with them. And customization is a customer-initiated process, which kind of makes sense. Customization, customer. So the customer is customizing. So for instance, you go on the website and you customize a set of sneakers, then you as a customer get your customized pair. Or on the other hand, if Nike does one for you, we suggest that you buy these sneakers that are whatever put together because of all the data and your history. That would be an act of personalization.
Yeah. But just take the car industry. A customized car is not something the car dealership has customized for you.
That's what you do, yeah. You do the selection.
Yeah, and they would never customize a car on the kind of hope that it would fit you.
No, exactly.
Or that it would find the right customer.
Exactly. So that's a brilliant example. But I think also down to you as a customer setting the going into a category page and then setting the filters for products in my size and only shirts in whatever orange, or I think that would also be your customization of the view.
Yeah.
And it's just it's just important to say that that's not personalization, that's customization.
Interesting. I think actually I was thinking about customization when I said individualization. Oh, yeah.
Ah, okay.
That hard word that this
Yeah.
Norwegian has a trouble with. So
yeah, but I think that could also be. I mean, you do end up with an individualized pair of sneakers, most likely.
of course.
So I think in this sense it covers both.
Yeah, but in the individualization is not something that the customer initiates.
It can be. It can be. I think so. But I think the individualization thing, the word clings to the product or the piece of communication, whereas personalization and customization is an act more. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, time to move on.
Yeah, let's do it. Enjoying the view here. While you.
Yeah, we can take a bit of view over there, and we're going up this area, and yeah, so it's a really nice hike. It's like 5K to the top, so
Beautiful.
yeah.
Gonna earn my dinner.
Yeah, you can have your dinner with a good conscience.
Yeah, and I will.
As can I. Is there a minimum viable version of personalization that actually works, or does it always require a certain level of organizational maturity before it delivers?
I think there are some cheap wins, easy wins, that don't require any like specific organizational backup and it's very, very simple. I think, on the website, a product recommendation engine, and, you can do that as an e-commerce manager without having to ask anyone for permission. So that'd be one. And things like segmenting your newsletter based on gender, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to collect the data. It's easy to deliver on it. It's easy to set it up and use it, and you don't have to ask anyone for permission. And that works, obviously. That works.
Yep.
I think any kind of trigger that is easy to implement is also low-hanging fruit. So that whether that be like abandoned basket or abandoned browsing, it's normally quite easy to do and set up. Also, having an elaborate welcome program where you slowly figure out what's the interests of the customers, and then following up on that, for instance, in the abandoned browsing. I think those would be super low-hanging fruits.
So before we dive into the next topic, I have another card for you.
Ooh, exciting.
The unspoken truths.
Unspoken truths.
My God.
What's the most expensive mistake you've made in your career? What is that expensive mistake? Going to have to think about that for a little while. In terms of, me spending my own money, or in terms of a choice that took me somewhere I didn't want to be, or...
I think I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to be fair, the card was a random pick, so...
I think the jury is still out on this. But I happen to be an investor in Made with Intent, which is the tech company founded by David Manheim.
Okay.
And it's going extremely well. And I think my mistake was that I didn't invest more in that. But I invested too much in another company that didn't go so well. So I should have put my money with David, because he's just freaking acing it with the platform and all the things that he's doing. So
a personal money investment then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
Let's push the card back. Yeah. It's going very much uphill here, so I think you have to ask me a question now that I can answer.
Yeah.
This is going to be a battle on giving the word to the other.
This is uphill.
It's going uphill.
So just pause for me. Not a pause for you. So, I want to talk about the AI shift. Yeah. What's new and what's not? Generative AI is clearly changing how organizations approach personalization, but you've been careful not to oversell it. What has actually changed, and what is people's excitement getting wrong?
Yeah. Okay, let's start with the generative AI thing first. Because really, I think that the generative AI is one thing, and that changed a lot. And then agentic, like right after, is actually changing it again.
Yeah.
But it's all part of the same movement and of the same direction. And what changed it first, maybe start with that, was the creation of content now suddenly becoming much easier. And that started with text, obviously, but also images, where you and now also video is beginning to actually be something that you can, if not rely on, something that can still give you a big productivity boost.
Yeah.
And the first things you saw getting affected by generative AI was actually not personalization. It was, you started with static content. So all your SEO pages and all the content that was on your website or in leaflets and brochures and whatever was now suddenly much easier to produce.
Yeah.
But then that also subsequently led to making it much more easier to do at least different variants of your content. So if you wanted to do, instead of doing a newsletter like for one segment or one size fits all, then it was much easier to get a junior copywriter to, use your whatever. If you use like a gem in Gemini or a custom GPT where you had encapsulated a lot of the context for which your organization, within which your organization operates. So your corporate visual identity, your tone of voice, and your brand and all these things. I call it master content. If you encapsulate that in a context and you then let your marketers work with that in a content creation engine, you can much easier come up with different variants for a specific message. So I'll give you an example. So FC Copenhagen, for instance, a client that I also work with in Agillic, they are using it to make sure that junior copywriters can do something where they don't say some of the words that have connotations to their competitors on the pitch. So there's like strict guidelines for which words you can and cannot use. But also making like different variants of, for instance, a match invitation, having like different tone of voice, a different pick of images and so on for people who normally attend the family stand versus the ones who attend the stand of the diehard fans. Just to give you one example.
Yeah.
So easier come up with more variants. Doesn't mean that it's suddenly. I think very few are doing it completely individualized, at least for the campaigns, because the campaigns, again, as we spoke of earlier, they're mostly about the campaign and about the brand, and not so much about the customer.
Yeah.
So normally, the sort of you actually don't need more than 5 or 7 variants, and you never had, and that actually hasn't changed much when it comes to campaigns.
Yeah.
However, with like I've seen some examples with like abandoned basket emails and with like trigger-based emails where they are completely individualized in the text and sometimes also the images. So yeah, so content thing, that was the first thing that changed.
So for the most use cases that people have, they are actually almost as good off as using generative AI with just having a certain set of variants.
Yeah. By and large, and especially when it comes to campaigns.
Yeah.
Because imagine that you're doing, for instance, a personalized trigger email.
Yeah.
Then imagine, and you say that you want to. It also there's a thing about how picky you are about your brand. How much can you tolerate, like a small mistake? With self-driving cars, we cannot tolerate like any mistakes at all, even though it's already better than humans.
Yeah.
So the tolerance level is very low there. But as like a small traffic email accident, it's maybe not quite as bad. But some brands will be like really, really protective around that. So they want to do quality assurance on every single. Put really, really hard guardrails in place, and maybe never ever do it on autopilot.
Yeah.
And for them, I think it's probably not worth it to have a completely AI individualized, for instance, email, text, because you can get quite far with something where you have parameterized. So as in hello FirstName, you bought a $ product, and thank you for your interest in a $ category. And I mean, you can do a lot. You can make it quite individual with the parameters, and giving that little extra thing by making it completely individualized doesn't necessarily give you a lot extra in terms of how individual it is and how personalized it is. So that's you need to think carefully before just mindlessly adopting that.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk more about the.
Oh, we didn't talk about agentic.
No, but that wasn't the question. So that's good.
Okay. All right.
Maybe we'll come to it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the content problem. Yeah. Getting enough relevant, varied content to actually personalize at scale has historically been one of the biggest blockers. Has AI genuinely solved that, or just moved the bottleneck somewhere else?
I think it has solved it, really, honestly. So if you, but I mean, it doesn't do itself. It's not like whatever ChatGPT can just without context suddenly generate super relevant and on-brand assets for you to use in personalization. That's not how it goes. So it takes some really clever work with your content layer. And we spoke of this a bit earlier. So I see it as almost a parallel process to how you imagine your data layer. So in the same way that you are collecting data, you're also actually collecting content from file drives and from SharePoint drives and from whatever inboxes and so on. And you are collecting that into your bucket of master content. And there's a lot of people who are confusing data with content. And maybe that's worth a little mention. So I regard content as something that someone is looking at. Because you presented it to someone, then I would regard that as content. And your master content assets could also be like your evergreen truths about what your company is and what it stands for, what your values are, and whom you want to be something for in the market. So all these canonical texts that really define the soul of the company and your value proposition, those are extremely important canonical content assets that you can feed into you can use as context. That would be like organizational context. Frans and I spoke of this as a brand LLM. So you have really, I think now I would probably redub it to your like brand context, and having that as part of part of your setup for using LLMs is extremely powerful, because then you can, this is way before personalization even becomes a thing, because then you can prompt almost any asset if you have, and we call that content modeling actually. Same way you do data modeling, you can actually do content modeling. So you can repurpose or construct almost any content asset if you have these guardrails in place, and then maybe you supply the like some customer context, for instance, if you want to do it personalized, you want to have that in that field, or you apply a campaign context. Okay, it's fine. Our brand is what it is, but the context of this brand is that we need to sell more rubber boots or whatever, or this supplier is asking us to do this and that, and you apply that content, and that means you can very, very quickly get an asset for So we've done this in Agillic. I can very, very quickly give you a invite text or a sketch out for how a workshop would be, and I can have it for you in Norwegian, like this. Yeah. And it used to take ages, really. But so it's not difficult to imagine that if you put this into an agentic setup, you can almost generate any content asset on the fly. Not saying that it will be 100% dialed in and correct at first, but quite quickly you should be able to steer it in.
So you recently presented on Composable AI.
Yeah.
The idea that no single model or tool should own all the intelligence. What does that mean practically for a marketing team building a personalization stack today?
Yes, that does have some implication. And I think I don't see it as much as something that where I say that this is how it should be, but I can just I can see that's the way it is.
Yeah.
So if so when we were presenting in Oslo last week, we were surveying the crowd and we were asking them whether they were using one LLM or they were using multiple LLMs, for instance, in the organization or even within the same department. And most departments were using multiple LLMs. So they're using Claude for instance, reporting and insights and analytics. And they're using ChatGPT for text creations and so on. So they're already using different tools for different things. And also the crowd said that they had no idea how which of these tools would sort of prevail in the future. Who would be the best at this and that thing in the future? And which is why they are already using different tools for different things. So, and I think the smart thing to do as a marketer then is to make sure that what you focus on is not so much, that you don't build anything in too heavily into one model or into one platform. But I think you really need to focus on context engineering. So making sure that you have, for instance, like all the canonical assets that we spoke of before in your master content database, so you can supply that as organizational context, that you have a framework and template for how you do campaign context, that you gather all your customer data and you're able to establish a recipient or a customer context as well. You operate with these different contexts and you can deploy them and you can exchange them and you can share them no matter which LLM or which model that you put underneath, because I think the models will change. The models it's crazy because they're kind of commoditized already, but your context, your own context, which is what you're going to use, what makes you unique, is definitely not commoditized. So definitely put your effort into context engineering and you'll be golden.
Cool. One thing that came up in your presentation was the question of which AI wins across departments. You mentioned it now, but marketing is experimenting with one set of tools, IT is locking down another. So you mentioned it, but how do you think that fight will end? And does personalization suffer in the crossfire?
Where will that? I think everybody is experimenting right now.
Yeah.
And what we discovered at the Martech Day was that, and this should come as no surprise, marketing is definitely not the only department that is experimenting with Gen AI and with Agentic AI. So and I think this is how it should be right now, because we are also, like Scott Brinker and Frans Riemersma coined it, we are in the chrysalis era. So we are on the stage between having been a caterpillar towards hopefully becoming a butterfly. And I think not all chrysalises will eventually make it. And I don't know, maybe a bat comes out of one of them, we'll see. So we are in this stage where we kind of have to work a bit sort of grassrooty. We cannot wait for the sort of golden governance to, we need to try this out now. And then we will have to do with the chaos and the mess that this creates for us right now. And we'll have to clean up later, I guess. And I think obviously some cleaning up will and should be done. So I think no organization are looking for an end state where you are using all kinds of agentic tools for doing your agentic processes and your agentic workflows. I think eventually organizations will want to streamline that and consolidate that onto one platform. Whereas the LLMs might be able to, you'll probably still be using a lot of them interchangeably, but hey, what do I know? We'll have to see, I guess.
Yeah, I actually have another question regarding looking into the future. So,
Yeah.
if you strip away the hype, what is the most genuinely new capability that AI gives personalization practitioners that they simply didn't have 3 years ago? Sorry, that was actually looking behind.
Yeah, I think there are many. If it's okay, I'm going to mention a few. I mean, we already covered one of them. So the content creation thing.
Yeah.
Also, not only for text and images, but even video is something that we only imagined earlier. But I think also the opportunity to actually use qualitative data sources in a way that you haven't been able to before. So the way that you can do like image processing, you can easily extract features from image sources and find patterns and insights from qualitative data. So just the fact that you can upload a a screenshot of some survey results, and it can read it and it can process it. So stuff like that, or that you can go through your service tickets and you can find patterns from a semantic point of view and what are people talking about. So that way of generating insights is outstanding, and we were nowhere near that. I don't think anyone imagined that this would then suddenly all of a sudden become so easy.
Yeah.
And it's mind-boggling to see what you can do there. And I'm constantly, surprised with the new things that I can do, because I think AI is somehow, I mean, we're looking for solutions to problems that we already sort of can imagine solutions for.
Mm-hmm.
Then comes this tool or these tools, this new sort of era of tools, paradigm of tools that are actually solving problems for us, or that are enabling us to solve problems that we didn't think would be solvable.
Yeah.
And it takes a while for us to sort of understand this. And it also means that we're constantly finding out new things and smart ways that, oh, boom, boom, I could use generative AI or agentic AI to do this and that. And I didn't know, but the creativity is really, and that makes this an extremely exciting time to be alive, I think.
Yep. Before we dive into the third topic of today, I have another card for you.
Future and gut. What's the most human thing left in your job? I think, ironically, AI is teaching us what does it actually mean to be human, because constantly we need to apply. I mean, we need to inject our intention into whatever AI might be doing for us. So we need to become really, really clear at what we want, and being able to articulate that, and also which form it should take. I think that's a very human thing to do. So if you boil that down, you may say that you need to have an opinion, and AI is not going to give you an opinion. I mean, it's always.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, ChatGPT is always being like super nice to you unless you tell it otherwise.
Yeah, well, they have their opinions, but yeah.
And you still need to be able to, and being able to tell what's good and what's bad, and choose between the two.
Yeah.
Because really AI is rubbish at that. And I do that all the time. And then also showing up is a very human thing to do.
Yeah.
So being there in the flesh, narrating my own book chapters, for instance, or getting other people to do it as well, which is what I'm doing with Hello FirstName now. All the different nationalities, dialects, and accents. I think the diversity in that, it's quite fantastic, and that's very, very human.
Yeah. So, third topic, the organization problem. Why companies still get it wrong. The tools have gotten better. The data is there. The AI can produce content at scale. So why do so many personalization projects still underperform or die quietly?
Yeah, that is the organizational thing. First of all, I think this notion of getting it right, I don't think we know what that is yet, because there's so much change. So I think if you are creating the results that you've promised the board, then you're doing something right, at least. And that may or may not include personalization efforts. Where personalization efforts fail is clearly on the organizational side. So I completely agree with that. I'm not saying that tech problems don't exist, because you can choose a good and a bad platform for this and that, and you can weld them together, integrate them wrong, or there's all kinds of there's so many moving parts. So obviously a lot of things can go wrong with tech, but it always happens because of the organization. The tech in itself is rarely wrong. So, and what's wrong the most? I think many organizations are not clear enough on what they want, and not detailed enough around how they want to make it happen. So then, so it's internal misalignment, which can come from, it has many reasons. So that could be bureaucracy, that could be personal agendas, that can be the way that your incentive structure has been put together and so on. That's actually keeping you from, and also it can be like lack of funds and lack of budgets. So if you're operating like on an extremely tight budget or extremely short deadline, if you have like two big constraints, then there's hardly any time to do the experimentation that you really need to set time aside for in these days.
You built a pyramid of personalization to map both the front-end maturity levels and the organizational capabilities needed to support them.
Yeah.
Which part of the pyramid do companies underinvest in most?
Yeah, so the front end of the pyramid is mainly around scope maturity. It's how far you've come in terms of building a customer experience that is more or less personalized. Then the back end is the organizational support for it, and it consists of three facets, or three sides, if you like, and those are technology being one, and then the other two would be governance and processes. And the last would be teams and skills. And it's, you can put that together in many ways, but that's how Frans and I decided to do it when we did the Hello FirstName book and the pyramid.
Yeah.
And and what do people most often get wrong there? So a thing that we saw after having worked with this is that there's sort of shifts in gears that you need to make. We call it the glass ceilings. So there are glass ceilings between the three layers of maturity in the pyramid of personalization.
Yeah.
And it means that if you somehow feel that you're stuck and you, things are not evolving as they should, you're not able to go break through the roof and get to the next level, then that could be because you need to do quite a profound thing entirely differently. And I'll give you one example, for instance. So say that you have a campaign team that you expect to also do marketing automation for you.
Yeah.
And but you're pressuring them so much that they are working 50 hours a week on the campaigns. And but you still count on them being able to do, say, 3, 4, 5 automated marketing automation flows within half a year or whatever. But if they're already working with like 50 hours a week and they're hung up on the campaign things and they're not really used to doing the marketing automation flows, they'll never get around to that. So solution there would be to, at the next level, to break through the glass ceiling, you need to organize differently and really earmark or organize so you make sure that certain resources are set aside for concentrating and focusing entirely on marketing automation. If you're a small team, it could be, 30% of the time, or whatever. Just make sure that you carve out time for this, or maybe dedicate resources, because it's harder and it doesn't automate itself really.
Yeah. So, in what do you say in layman terms?
Yeah.
The thing that is most often underinvested in is actually the people, the resources, and like the training and setting aside time to actually do personalization good.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Or
yeah, but I think sometimes it's a matter of knowledge. It's a matter of not realizing that you should do something differently.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily because you don't have the funds, you just don't have the funds right now. And the manager or the leader fails to envision the economical potential of breaking through the glass ceiling and getting to that point where things are differently and realizing what has to change. And that's why we made the pyramid of personalization, to make it clear. First of all, how does it look at each level?
Yeah.
But also give some hints as to what could be the big shifts that you need to make in order to break through to the next level.
Personalization tends to live in marketing, but it touches data, IT, legal, product. How do you get those functions aligned around a shared definition of what you're trying to do?
Yeah, that's not easy. I say that personalization is a team sport, and you cannot do it alone. You might find one unicorn that can do both data and content, but I mean, they're few and far between. And if you find one, please take them to the lab to be examined, so we can reproduce. So it's definitely a team sport, and I think one of the things that actually brought me to write the book Hello FirstName in the first case was that and then that's where we needed a common definition of it. So if everybody's talking about personalization as something different, I mean, they're meaning something different using the term, or vice versa, using too many words but they're talking about the same stuff. That's really where we need a common definition or a common practitioner's model, and that's where the Bowtie of personalization came in.
Yeah.
And at first, back in 2023, I don't know if I believed it or thought. I mean, I thought it'd be helpful to have the Bowtie of personalization as sort of a mental model for how it works, and that would enable more people to actually do better personalization. And while that was true to some extent, there's clearly potential left. Let me put it that way. And so I decided to invent the Personalization Cards, which are, I mean, it's kind of fun. Like physical deck of cards in 4 variants. I have like four different industries.
Nice.
And these are like, imagine the top 10 personalization cases out there within subscription or within commerce. What I did is that I chopped these up in bite sizes, but still retaining the mental model of the Bowtie personalization. So now people, no matter where they come from, like IT, or they come from a content side of things or commerce side of things, they can use these conversation cards to really put the pieces of the personalization puzzle together, making sure that they have this common understanding of, okay, which segments should we go for, and which moments of truth matter to us, and which messages are like in our net message catalog, and which different curated content feeds do we have with different sets of recommendations of products and content and categories and services and whatnot. So that's, I think, what I've seen, that really does wonders. It also works in there's a Miro edition of this, but the physical cards, there's really nothing like it.
Yeah, I saw them in Oslo, and I was kind of drooling a bit. But I don't.
They're intriguing, just because they're there and they're colorful and they're good quality.
And I can't actually understand how I didn't manage to check them out, because like after your session, I got I got out of there, and yeah.
I will follow up on that.
Yeah,
no problem. I mean, you can buy buy a pair on my website. This is promo omnichannelinstitute.com/personalization cards. I think that's where you'll find them. So and it's funny because I've sent these decks to Australia. I've sent these decks to the US. I've sent them basically all over the world, where people are buying it, and obviously we're using them in Agillic as well for both prospects and clients, and it's always fun.
Yeah.
Oh, and it really gets people talking. Even the ones who are most comfortable in the PowerPoints and the inboxing, they come out there and they're tangible. And
yeah, it's like playing a game.
It is,
but it's work.
Yeah.
Almost like this. It's
a bit like this.
It's work, but it's kind of playing a game.
We have quite a climb in front of us here.
So we're gonna take a short break from the recording
for obvious reasons
because we're gonna climb this one. So it's the steepest part of the hike.
We can do it.
Yeah, we can do it. Rasmus, you have worked with big Nordic brands, Matos, Tivoli,
definitely,
Warner Group, Sportmaster. Is there a pattern in what separates the organizations that actually get results from personalization versus those that don't?
Yes. There's definitely some patterns. And I think, and it's a cliche, but it's really about whether or not your organization management wants to be customer-centric or not. So if you genuinely believe that going the best errand of the customer will bring you most profit going forward, and you let that sink in to your whole organization, and that seeps in through every crack, and that comes into every performance review and any tech decision you make, and so on. That's paramount.
Yeah.
So that's the ultimate pattern, and I think it's fair to say that you can make money in many ways, and obviously the goal of most companies, at least, is to make some kind of money, and you can do that by producing clothes, for instance, super cheap, and optimizing that production set and blah blah blah, and you can make a lot of money without necessarily being world master in personalization, and that's okay. That's totally fair. That's a legit business model. You can source product from China, and you can sell them cheap or whatever. And if that floats your boat, then go ahead. Everything. I mean, you don't have to personalize if you don't want to. It's a strategy that you can choose, and if you let that sink in, it can be extremely powerful. But it's not the only strategy to make money. I think that's the point I was making.
Yeah. At some point, in almost every personalization project, someone says, "This is too complex. Let's just do segmentation." How do you respond to that?
Hey, I think you start by listening, and maybe he or she has a point, or maybe they're just daft.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to measuring things, and because I mean that's the beauty of it. You can really measure almost anything, and so I mean, give it a try. Do the experiment. See, does the segmented approach work just as well as the, I don't know, multi-armed bandit? So then, I mean, go for it. I mean, don't waste your time. It's not a game. You're into making money. So, I mean, put it to the test, I think would be my answer.
Yeah. That concludes the third topic.
Yeah, that's a pretty big climb we just did there, Morten.
Yeah. So before we dive into the last topic, here's a new card.
Category being change and AI. What's everyone automating that you think they shouldn't? Yeah. Okay. I think most chatbots are shit. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't automate a chatbot, but the way that people are doing it is
shitty.
For the love of God, most answers you get from a chatbot is like super, super shitty. And the first thing that you reply back is, "Can I please talk to a human being?"
Yeah.
So if you're not ready for that, don't automate it. Seriously.
You know, many years ago, I worked in a bank, and that was before you started to have like automated chatbots, but my employer at that time they implemented a more of a rule-based chatbot, and they had first they had one robot trainer, then they added an extra.
Yeah.
And they together,
like people who are training the robots.
They look at all the questions and the answers and
putting guardrails.
Yeah, and like setting rules and giving the correct answers for these type of questions, etc.
Yeah.
And of course, in the beginning, most of the responses was probably shitty.
Yeah.
But that's the way you learn.
Exactly.
That's the way you train the chatbot.
I guess some people just stop before that, and then eventually they take the bot off.
Yeah.
Because, hey, this didn't work, but hey, you didn't give it a chance to succeed.
Hey, the CEO tried it. It's shit.
Yeah. Yeah. The CEO's wife tried it.
Yeah.
The CEO's husband tried it.
So suddenly it's the budget is cut. But oops, almost stumbled. Where is what's next? Where personalization is heading.
Yeah.
You're on the second edition of your book.
Yeah.
The Hello FirstName. You're watching this space evolve faster. And
definitely
faster than almost any other part of marketing. Where does it go from here?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And it really is. Because it's obviously we don't know the answer, but there can be guesses and hints and signals as to where we're going.
Oops.
So one thing that is taking up a lot of my sort of, one thing that I'm giving a lot of thought is where we are. I mean, where's the interface going? It's one thing. So voice is getting bigger and bigger. I find myself talking to, for instance, ChatGPT quite a lot, and not only in conversations but also dictating. So giving orders and prompts and so on through voice. At first, it feels a bit awkward sitting there talking to a computer in an open office space, but the time you save is crazy.
You don't feel like Tony Stark, though.
Come again?
You don't feel like Tony Stark?
No. So that's one thing that I think is going to do wonders for us, because then suddenly you don't have to sit in front of a computer. You can be anywhere. And you can, so one of my friends, he did an MBA while running, for instance. So he used Notebook LM to podcast the texts that he needed to learn. And he also used it for taking notes and gathering his thoughts on his assignment and how that should be. And he passed with like a big bravura. So that's one example of where you can go without an interface. So where does that leave the commerce storefront or the email, right? So that's one thing. I also think that this may be not as closely related to personalization marketing. Or then again, I think eventually these robots will move out into the world and we'll have humanoid robots walking around us to serve us and cook for us and whatever, shop for us even.
Put us in jail.
Put us in jail, yeah, kill us. That's already happening. So that's another thing that I don't know where will take us. And then there will also be these robots that are working for the consumer and not the brand. I think that's a very interesting topic, because how will we as human beings instruct these agents with how will we give them our preference context? Ideally you'd start with psychotherapy and you'd go really deep and you'd shred yourself of all the trauma that you have, and that there's like therapy and psychedelics for that, right? And then once you find out whom do I really want to be and how do I want to look, what is sort of the ideal me that I'm sort of chasing out there, what are my hopes and dreams, and then you give that context to the agents that you have working for you, your preference agents. I'd call them. And they then get to decide, based on that, they get to decide what comes through to you, what marketing is allowed to wake up Morten at night, if anything, because he needs his beauty sleep. And when can, I mean, it could control your settings on your phone with vibrations and so on, like with timeframes. Also, which brands would be allowed to show you ads. So, I mean, if you want to get lean and stay fit, maybe your preference agent will only allow you to see ads for things that promote that way of being you. You get it?
Yeah.
So I think that shift of power to the individuals, where you generally equip agents that can protect you from all the stuff that you don't really want to be, but that can lure you in when you are tired or hungry or, not yourself. I mean, I constantly think about this sneakers commercial with "you're not you when you're hungry."
Yeah.
And these agents, they don't get hungry. And so they kind of watch your best preferences day and night. And if you let them set your ad settings on Meta and Google and, everywhere, and the settings on your phone and so on, and the email subscriptions that you get. So you only ever get exposed to things that nudge you gently towards the person you want to become. That's where we want to go as consumers. But it also takes some work from our point. I think that's going to change things dramatically.
And by that, we need to take a scenic pause, because we are actually at the top. So if we go around here, you will actually see a sign. If you wonder am I at the top? Yeah, you're at the top.
Yes.
Yeah. It says,
the tops.
Welcome to Storheia, it says. And the Norwegian flag. Yeah.
We made it.
Yeah, pose.
Yeah.
Yay. We need to take a small break to take some pictures, but we'll be back soon. That's it.
Let's go.
So
we started the descent again.
Yeah.
It's amazing view to Trondheim from here.
Yes, it's I'm gonna be very Norwegian and say it's a very nice place here.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah. No, it's actually at one time it was I think early November. I had my plans to run the same path we have taken today. But when before I came up to this plateau, it was like 15, 20 centimeters of snow.
Oh, yeah.
So that was like, I had the closest to you as a Norwegian today, you can feel like I'm a Viking. Valhalla or something. I don't know.
Clearly.
But yeah. Let's dive back into what's next. There's a tension between personalization and privacy that is only getting sharper, especially in a European context with GDPR and now growing data sovereignty concerns.
Yeah.
How do you think that tension resolves, if it does?
Circling back to the question we just had, and sort of the end state where you as consumer deploy agents to work in your favor. I think the agents, the brand side agents that they will meet are the ones with which you will be sharing certain contexts. So I think we'll come to a point where your preference agent will be allowed to share certain subsets of your preference context to brands, and you as a consumer being able to revoke that consent at any given time, or probably your agent will.
Yep.
So say that you're shopping for something in particular, or your agent is, then in order to get the best deal or the best advice, or give the brands that you are engaging with the best opportunity to serve you in a personalized fashion, or serve your agent in a personalized fashion. This is becoming very meta. Then I think there will be a sharing exchange, temporary exchange of your context, your preference context. And how we'll get there, I simply have no idea. Also don't know. This is obviously my best guess at where we'll end up. I think in general, GDPR is a good thing because I don't know if you think back, it was really the Wild West. And, marketing departments had, shadow IT and all kinds of different databases and so on. It was just cowboy land like crazy. And I think in that sense, I think GDPR has done us a huge favor to get the mess cleaned up.
Yeah.
And putting the consents before anything else. I mean, and I know we all hate the cookie cookie disclaimers and yes, I accept cookies, I allow cookies, and that may be but I think really that's more about the implementation side of things. I think the idea of having those consents in the first place is where we will continue to go down that path, and I think we should.
Yeah. Talk about agentic AI. Agentic AI systems that can take action autonomously rather than just generating content is starting to show up in marketing workflows.
Yeah.
What does that mean for personalization specifically?
I think just makes everything easier to achieve and more I don't know, streamlined from a work process point of view. So I mean, an agentic workflow. First of all, let's define an agent. So an agent is something that has agency, something that can act within certain guardrails that you set for it and certain boundaries, and that aims to achieve goals that you set for it. And if you, so that means that you can have multiple agents engaged in a multi-agent workflow, obviously, that can have like different tasks. And so one could be like a QA agent that will be quality assuring and making sure you meet brand guidelines and that you comply with organizational context, so on. And another one could be like inspirational agent that made sure that the content was, engaging and fun, and they could sort of discuss it out between themselves until they arrived at something, and then you set that up in an agentic workflow. And I think that just if you master that and you can make that happen, and then you can make them work on all the variants that we discussed before, and they'll be able to produce that much faster. They'll also be able to do decisions for you. So based on the also what we spoke of before with the data layer and the content layer, I mean, looking into qualitative data sources to and detract insights from them, guiding decisions that you'd otherwise have humans do. I mean, that's just, I think that's applicable across the board. And obviously not only in personalization, but it'll just make personalization easier. But then again, it comes down to, okay, so if we suddenly have these agent superpowers, is marketing the first place that we want to apply them, or where do we focus? And that will be different from brand to brand, where you put your money.
Yeah.
It's a nice descent here.
Yeah. really, really hard for the knees.
Yeah, and the cameraman.
Yeah. Usually, I only have to focus getting myself in the shot, but can't go and look in the camera all the time.
Next level selfie.
Yeah. But it's
a Wi-Fi.
Oops.
Osfi.
Yeah. You've been thinking and writing about this. Oops. There you are.
Yeah.
You've been thinking and writing about this for over 10 years. Yeah, what's the question about personalization that you still don't have a good answer to? Just a good question.
You need to think about that. What the question is that I still don't have an answer to.
For a good answer.
Maybe what we discussed before. I mean, where does it all end?
Yeah.
And one thing that I'm eager to find out, and I don't know, I don't think I always had that question, but I mean, will you, as a consumer, eventually be able to to rig personalization in your favor? I mean, is this... So imagine this future that we spoke of before, where you have these preference agents that are setting your ad preferences and notification preferences and email preferences and whatnot. Does that ultimately mean that you, as an individual, well-informed and so on, and having gone through therapy and whatever, can rig personalization to work in your favor no matter where you go? I think that's an extremely interesting question. And I think the answer is yes to some extent, of course. But imagine if you could harness... It's almost like was it jiu-jitsu, where you used your opponents? Maybe that's jiu-jitsu. Never mind. I'm not into martial arts. But there are some of these sports where you can utilize your opponent's force against them. It's almost like that. So imagine all these brands are doing all kinds of agent stuff, but you can use that power not against them, but in your favor.
Yeah.
I think that's an extremely interesting thought. Just wanting to see where that goes.
As we're closing in on the end of this episode, I have one last question for you from the cards.
Yes.
One that you picked.
So it's
this is a good one.
It's on me.
Yeah, you picked it.
Unspoken truth. It says I'm a bit shaky now. What's a piece of marketing advice that makes you roll your eyes? Marketing advice. So the notion about being able to find out which channels work better and then focus on that channel. I think and it comes from paid advertising. And I'm sure there are like these marketing mix models where you find out, should we advertise more on mobile or in search or should we do more emails? And you look at emails just like another channel, or you look at push notifications, like should we invest more in push notifications as if it were only an advertising channel?
Yeah.
I think those kind of advice, at least from a personalization point of view, and I think I have a really hard time with them.
Yeah.
Really.
I actually have one myself when it comes to that question. And that is also, it comes from like paid media, but from mostly from agencies, when they tell you that if you want to make more money, you just need to push more budget into your advertising.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing you need to do.
Because they get a cut.
Yeah, because they get a cut, but what if shouldn't we look into the funnel, into the landing page? Is it wise just to up your budget and then you'll make more money?
Yeah,
bigger
burn. Burn more cash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that makes me roll my eyes.
I get more of these. So there's also the advice that you could get from legal departments, which is always going to be a big no. So they have like absolutely no part of the upside of you doing anything like personalized with data and so on. and that kind of advice from them, I could like 9 out of 10 times like really do without. And I hate to see the power that they wield in some organizations where I'm giving an example. So we work with some patients organizations. I'll not say which. And I've heard from some of them that they are, for instance, they are crippled by their legal departments against being able to save the data on the diagnosis of the people with which they're engaging. And for me, it's like that's the whole point of the relation that you are having. So you have like a patients organization and people are signing up, getting to know whether these are themselves hit by that disease, or whether they are relatives, or whether they're just philanthropics, or they lost someone who was to that case zone. Not being able to talk about that and put that into the personalization game It's just I can understand it really.
That's like the that type of personalization is like what I would expect them to be able to do.
It's the core of the relationship.
Like going to your doctor and get a general feedback on what most people are struggling with.
Use that for absolutely
but my condition, but most conditions are. But
I'm
about
a member. I'm me.
Yeah,
Make it all about me. Hello, FirstName. Are you there? Yeah. So all my book titles suddenly. So that's a piece, and also this may be a small one. So someone is deciding, it may not be advice, but like a decision that is like constantly annoying me, is these no reply email addresses from which brands are sending communications, literally saying, don't reply to us. I mean, buy our products, but we don't want your voice. We don't care about you as an individual. We're not listening. La 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 la. It's essentially saying, I'm the freaking crocodile man. And I'm not listening, but you need to pay attention because now I'm talking. And
funny you said crocodile, because I was about to say, like, one question, so many answers. Who's the crocodile?
Yeah, point taken.
No. But yeah, it's like.
First, I thought there were no answers, but there were multiple answers.
Yeah, they're all valid. I would say, maybe even mine.
Maybe even.
So great. If a marketer listening to this is just starting to build a personalization practice at their company, not a lot of budget, not a lot of organizational buy-in, what's the one thing they should focus on first?
Document your success. And brag about it. I mean, make experiments with the relative effect and the data at your disposal, and then do the math and saying, if we did this full scale for these other use cases, or for like a bigger database, a bigger part of the database, or we had more data or more channels or more budget or whatever, it could amount to this. So you translate whatever findings you have at small scale into big scale, and you translate it into the language of money. And then suddenly you say, if we could do this, we could make this kind of money for our company. And this makes it extremely hard to say no to. So that's where you build your business case.
So document your success.
Yes. And extrapolate it.
Yeah.
So not only what you created, but saying, if we did this full scale, what would that mean?
Yeah. Great. Before we wrap up, if someone in the audience takes one thing from this episode back to the desk and actually does something with it, what would it be? We talked about so many things, but
I think align with your team. I mean, get people on board, share the same vocabulary, make sure that, words matter, that you use the same words for the same things, and that you see eye to eye on what's important. So, no one can succeed with personalization alone. So it's a team sport.
Yep.
So, there are many. I think I did my share. I like to think I did my share in terms of bringing models and frameworks into the world that you can use for this. So, yeah.
Cool. Where can people find Rasmus Houlind and your work?
Yeah, obviously they can find me at Agillic, where I work, but they can find me on LinkedIn, and it's LinkedIn/in/Houlind, which is my last name.
I'll leave the link in the description.
Yeah, sure enough. And they can find me more info at omnichannelinstitute.com, which is my personal website.
Oh, cool. Rasmus, thank you for being on the Ordinary.
Yeah, thank you so much, Morten.
And
Big
thank
pleasure.
you for making it up to Storheia with me.
Yeah.
And not accepting my lame offer, taking a Dane alongside the
I'm glad I did.
river of
I'm glad I
Trondheim.
did.
Yeah.
This has been truly amazing.
So by that, we'll just take a little scenic thing and bye.